Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Week 14 edition NFL Recap Show here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike, Danny Boy, the old ops guy with you. Gentlemen, good morning. How are we?
We are doing good. Danny Boy and I, we just recorded the Six Man Up. We were live for it. You can go check that out on YouTube and also check it out at the network.
Yeah, and of course, Sports City podcast pages wherever you get your podcasts, the audio version that is. Um, at peace, knowing that the Jets are officially out of the playoff mix. Of course, this was already the case, mathematically, I'm saying, and knowing that based on the rest of the schedule for the Jets, it could be a good chance we could be at least top five, though top 10 is definitely the case. Just a matter of where. Right now, they're at seven. They could stay at seven, or they could drop a little further. Either way, I'm all good because it's not about where you pick, it's who you pick.
And they might have two inside the top 15 because we'll get into what's going on in
Yeah, but
Indianapolis.
yeah, and you know that I am just absolutely going ballistic over the downfall of the Indianapolis culture now.
We do
And
feel bad for Daniel
yeah,
Jones.
yeah, yeah, you can feel
Yeah.
bad for Jones, but you don't feel bad for the team. Absolutely not. No,
I
no,
feel bad for Peyton Manning.
no.
That's who I feel bad for. All right, so
Why?
Dan just
Because Philip Rivers was there to come back, not him.
probably.
Yeah.
I,
Payne Manning got to watch out for his neck. You know.
we'll get into Philip Rivers, Daniel Jones, Colts in a little bit. So Dan has no remorse towards the Colts.
Hell no,
Listen.
fuck out of here. Like they no, look, they decided to go all in, and it's backfired. So I'm loving it. Every bit of it. Again, Daniel Jones, that's one thing. Look, I am I'm very sad for him because he's a good guy, great player, works hard. But the Colts as a franchise, no, sorry. I don't give a rat's ass about them.
All right, but we'll start with the most recent game, which was Monday Night Football, which saw the Chargers beat the Eagles by a score of 22-19 in overtime, sending the Chargers to 9-4 and keeping pace with the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, and sending the Eagles to 8-5. And Mark, once again, an off night for Jalen Hurts.
Um, we have been watching Hurts and this team regress horribly. Hats off to Saquon Barkley, who has finally reemerged and had a really, really good game with 20 carries for 122 and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts threw four interceptions, no touchdowns. But let's also mind you, he threw an interception, recovered a fumble, but yet to fumble it again. He is the only player in NFL history to turn the ball over twice on one play. That was an embarrassment. This Eagles team is an embarrassment right now. And hey, I'm reaping the rewards because Dallas looks good, even though Dallas is losing.
And they
If this
suck
Eagles
too.
team keeps regressing the way they are and the way they have been, and Dallas wins out, hey, Dallas could win the NFC East here. Until it's over, we keep trudging forward. Dan?
The Eagles have a quarterback problem. And it's tough to say that because he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, one. And two, he has been an elite player, Jalen Hurts. But right now, the Eagles, if they do win games, they're winning in spite of the quarterback play. That's where we're at right now. His He's obviously not connecting well with his receivers. His accuracy's way down. Um, the game plan is kind of predictable from the Eagles too. It's something that we need to look out for moving forward because if it continues, would you be shocked if maybe not after this season, but after next season, if this trend continues, that they may decide to think, you know what, Jalen Hurts may have run its course. I don't want it to be the case. I want this to be a one-time fluky thing for the Eagles. I don't want them to have all this success and all of a sudden it's this one campaign and then it's all down the tubes. But it's something that you're gonna have to look at. Uh, and if you look at how they're reacting in Philly, they're pissed. All these Philly fans are pissed right now, and they have every right to be.
And it's not just the Jalen Hurts problem. The Eagles have an offensive problem.
Yeah.
Like it is this whole thing. AJ Brown's been a mess the whole year up until recently.
Yeah, act like a doofus too.
Right, he's been, acting like a diva. The Saquon stuff, like this team. Now listen, everybody knew Saquon was not going to have the same year he had a year ago. That was a historical season. Also, he made the cover of Madden. We all know what happens at that point.
Mhm.
So thankfully, he's healthy. This offensive line is a problem right now. They're not run blocking well. They're not pass protecting well. The play calling is awful. And, Dan, you call it a Jalen Hurts problem. I think the Eagles are undergoing an identity crisis. They don't know who they want to be. Do you want to be the team that you were a year ago, which was we're going to run the ball down your throat, and then our play action game is going to be really successful? Or do we want to be the team that airs it out a little bit more, and then when we have to hit you with the run game with Saquon, we can? And obviously, when we get to second and short, third and short, it's tush push central. I just don't know what the Eagles want to do. And at this point, this is a team that should be one of the better offenses in the league. And right now, they are pathetic to watch at times. Like, if you take out the Saquon big run in the second half, they get 12 points, which is 4 field goals. They scored one offense. I believe they scored one offensive touchdown, and it's the Saquon run.
Yeah. It's baffling because it's not just against the good teams, it's against the mediocre teams too that they're having these issues, that they're struggling. Philly's in trouble.
Here's how bad things are if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They lost the game to the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you know things are bad.
Yeah.
Mike, you brought up a thing regarding Philadelphia. With the injuries that have been sustained to now Jalen Hurts and whatnot, would you even trust? I mean, we've had problems talking as analyst-wise of the Philadelphia offense. If you are Sirianni with the condition Hurts is in and whatnot, are you going with that tush push at all anymore this season, or are you backing off? As I said, this is from an analyst point of view.
So, from my point, first of all, let me say this: I hate the play.
So do all of us,
right? But no, because it's successful. It's a successful play. Now, I do think what you could start doing is what you saw a little bit Monday night, which is you get in the formation of the tush push, and you run something out of it that's not the tush push, whether that's a handoff to Saquon, maybe it's a reverse to Brown or Devontae Smith. You can utilize the formation to your advantage as opposed to just strictly running the play and defenses knowing what's coming. Give them something else to think about. But I don't know if you can go away from it because it's a part of who you are.
Okay, fair answer.
Flip side it to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, who was playing with that fractured hand, 12 of 26, 139 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He was also the Chargers' leading rusher with 66 yards on 10 rushes. And I know it was his non-throwing hand. I still don't like the fact that the Chargers, who I get it, are playing for a playoff spot, are risking their franchise quarterback out there.
But if it's a non-throwing hand, like who cares? You know, if
But
he
you
could
could still
play.
see he was having a problem throwing. See,
Well,
it's
yeah,
similar to Rodgers.
but yeah, because he can't grip on the ball. But
Yeah.
like, if that's just a minor inconvenience, you don't want to throw out your backup, when you're in the midst of a playoff run. Like, I would much rather him play if he's in pain in his non-throwing hand than he's in pain in his non-throwing hand. If it works, then it works. Um,
You get sorry.
he obviously didn't look comfortable. He had
Yeah.
to run the ball a lot. And unlike Justin, but it needed to be done. And it got the job done. The Chargers offense was actually pretty solid on Monday.
You could see Herbert was battling, especially when that interception was thrown. It was the ball was weak. That being said, they didn't have him, try to throw 40, 50 passes. He had to throw the ball. You can't just throw the ball 10 times as a Charger. But you could see the adrenaline was pumping, and I'm saying that because this is a guy who doesn't normally run 10 times. And they used that to their advantage because whether it was Vidal out there who had that nice little one reception on the screen, you had O'Marion Hampton back, and you had Herbert, you could do a couple of nice running moves and Herbert gets you that 66 yards. And some of those runs were 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5. And that's where it came into play and became helpful.
And part of the running was the Eagles did get to him 7 times. So the Eagle defense did their job.
Yep.
The Eagle offense didn't live up to
that interception on the last play. That ball had no zip on it. It just died by Jalen Hurts. That ball last year makes it in at the touchdown.
Well, I think you bring up a good point about Hurtsley. If he is playing injured, I think we need to know. But right now, this team they look more like the team of 2 years ago that choked, went into the playoffs, and got smoked by the Bucs than the team that won the Super Bowl last year.
Whether it's the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys who win this division, neither one of them are going deep into the playoffs anyway.
You know who deserves to win the NFC East? The Commanders. Give the Commanders the division.
That would be almost impossible, but I'm sure until the word eliminated comes across the board, possibilities can happen.
I thought they were eliminated.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Are they? Then it's I hadn't seen.
We do have a little bit of news here from Greg Auman from I believe he's he covers the NFC South for Fox Sports. Todd Bowles said today, Mike Evans has shown everything he needed to show in practice. to get activated and makes his return Thursday against the Falcons. So Mike
That
Evans
is
will be up
wow.
for the Bucks.
That is a huge thing for Baker Mayfield, who you can see was struggling last week. That is huge. And I'm also glad after, the career this guy had, at least he's going to go out, whether it's into the playoffs or just end the season. But I'm glad to see Mike Evans coming back.
You know who else this is big for?
Chris
Emeka.
Godwin.
I was going to say Emeka Ibuka.
I like him too.
I mean, now all three of these guys are healthy. Okay. All right, Tampa. Let's see what you got. That's a bad loss to the Saints on Sunday at home. Speaking of, Saints beat the Bucks on Sunday by a score of 24-20. That's what we call in the business. A lead. All right,
That's
for
what
the
I call
Saints,
it.
huh?
That's what I call it. Ugh.
Tyler Shuck had 2 rushing touchdowns in the win. Baker, who struggles, continued 14 of 30, a buck 22, a touchdown and a pick. The Saints go to 3-10, while the Bucks go to 7-6. And now the Bucks are tied for first place in the NFC South with the Carolina Panthers, who yet they still have yet to play this year.
That'll be a fun ending now that it's the way that it is for that division. Face them twice, and those games are going to be so crucial.
Yeah, they play each other. I believe it's week 16 and week 18.
Wow, could it come down to the final? Wow.
Week 16, they're in Carolina, and then the last week of the season, they are going to be in Tampa Bay. Which means that'll probably, as of right now, that's probably your Sunday night game, unless Bears Lions means something, or Colts Texans,
Or any other game that has any bearing.
Well, you got Seahawks Niners that can mean something, and Ravens Steelers. Oh, and potentially Chargers Broncos. I'll tell you what won't be Sunday night, week 18. Cowboys
Dallas Giants.
Giants.
Dallas Giants. I have friends pushing me to go to that game. I'm refusing. And not because I don't want to see the Cowboys. Too friggin' cold.
Yeah, you want to sit in MetLife Stadium in the middle of January, in the beginning of January.
And most likely get my ass kicked because I have a big mouth? No.
But I think you would throw the first punch, though, Mark.
That's the problem. I would be, I would probably be drunk to stay warm. And I would pick the biggest guy there because you think the prison move, knock the biggest guy down and no one will mess with you the entire game. And that would be me getting thrown off the second level down onto the first level.
That's why you need a suite.
Oh yeah, just go drop 30 grand. Ask Dad if I can borrow the credit card.
These guys have problems right now. All right. All right. We started this off with the Colts. Let's just get into the Colts and the Jags. The Jags beat the Colts by a score of 36-19. The Jags go to 9-4, the Colts 8-5. But the story is Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones suffered a non-contact injury, dropping back. It is a torn Achilles tendon. He is done for the season. The Colts have now signed Phillip Rivers to their practice squad. And potentially he could play Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. So
he's gonna play.
He's gonna play with Riley Leonard also banged up. but
Yeah, the whole practice squad is just
I think he has to just go through the
yeah,
practice
yeah,
squad.
it's nonsense. It's protocol, whatever the heck the rules are for the NFL. He's gonna be on
Exactly.
the active roster. He's gonna be the quarterback, and the first time since 2020 that we're gonna see Philip Rivers play football. I mean, it's look, it's obviously giving me a lot of memories, as a child who adored Philip Rivers. I
Yeah.
loved watching him
Great
play.
quarterback.
I mean, one of the best to ever do it. Obviously, at 44, he's going to be super limited. Um, he hasn't played organized football in a long time. I'm sure he has the ability to throw, but I'm not going to expect really much out of this other than the Colts are desperate because they're trying to make the playoffs. Shane Steichen is on the hot seat, has been all season, with the owner basically in his freaking corner, like like a parrot is on a pirate and stuff. This is all out of desperation for Indianapolis because they thought that they had a chance to go to playoffs, and now that that's in jeopardy, they don't trust any of their quarterbacks on the roster, so they had to turn to Philip Rivers. It's troubling to watch this for Indy.
If you want to read a good article on it, I posted one on Daniel Jones last week. You can read that on the network page, www.thesportscenternetwork.com. I find it funny, and I don't want to mean it, lightly. I find it funny that this is the person they're turning to, a guy who hasn't picked up a ball on a field in any way in 4 years. However, Joe Flacco showed us age is but a number. So we know that Philip Rivers will be the starter come Sunday. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I know he's going to be check
Mhm.
down number a lot because we don't know how well this man can move anymore. However, there is one name left, but not going to be available right away, and that's Anthony Richardson, who can be ready by the end of week 16. So, if the Colts go into the playoffs, they will at least have two quarterbacks, Rivers and Richardson, but that also depends on how Anthony Richardson responds to the active 21-day window trial.
I'm not sure they want to go to Richardson.
I don't. If they wanted to, they wouldn't be putting Philip Rivers here.
Exactly,
But
like
you got to have a number two.
that they would
So
have gone with Richardson here. I feel like, but you feel for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important part here because Daniel Jones was not a great quarterback for the New York Giants, and he ate a lot of flack for the contract and what he could and couldn't do. And he went to Indianapolis, and he proved a lot of people wrong with his performance this season.
Yeah.
And to go out like that, put it bluntly, it sucks. It sucks for Daniel Jones. It sucks for the Indianapolis Colts. It sucks for Colts fans. It sucks.
Yeah. And the thing that the thing that really is tough the most is the fact that Jones has really worked hard to get back on the field to have this type of season. This is not easy for a quarterback to be in
No.
this league. And Jones has been at the highest of the highs and lowest of the lows throughout his entire career. Was it all of 7 years or so? So it's been up and down. And the fact that you had this season going on and he was doing so well, this NFL is pretty competitive. There's a
Yeah.
lot of tough teams out there. The fact that he was doing so well for this long stretch of a season, and it's all crash and burn at it literally in one play. It's tough to watch, and again, you know, my heart to him because I really enjoyed watching his resurgence throughout this 2025 season. It is a very difficult thing to have to experience if you're a fan of just football and you love these comeback stories.
Yeah. He he is the slam dunk comeback player of the year. And it just sucks that it ends that way. And by the way, for the Colts, Philip Rivers could be your savior, but this schedule ain't doing you any favors. The Colts' remaining schedule is at the Seahawks on Sunday, the Niners on a Monday night, the Jaguars again, and they end the year in Houston. That is the final four games for the Indianapolis Colts, a team that had a lot of promise, and now it is on the shoulders of 45-year-old Philip Rivers. And for those of you who care about this stuff, Philip Rivers' Hall of Fame clock has now been reset. So he will not be eligible, despite him being a semifinalist this year. His clock now resets because he's rejoining the Colts. I don't feel like. Go ahead.
It doesn't really matter for Philip Rivers on that end. Like he's going to get into the Hall of Fame no matter what. But yeah.
I feel like we haven't given the Jags any just due because it's all about the Colts here. But good win for the Jags, Mark. We talked about Trevor Lawrence on Sunday. He played well enough to get a win. Now he's got to keep that thing moving. And the Jags could get a first round home playoff game.
And that would help. Excuse me. And that would help Lawrence greatly having the crowd behind him going into a playoff game. After the 3 interception game last week and coming back with a error-free game and 2 touchdowns. Again, it makes Lawrence, gives us. It's hard to hate this guy because every time you love him, he drops the game, and every time you hate him, he proves you wrong. What I liked out of this game, I like that Travis Etienne finally got back on track, with 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, this Jags team just needs to keep the status quo. Keep doing what it's doing and keep that defense has to be strong going into the closing weeks.
And the Jags' remaining schedule looks like this. They'll play Dan's Jets on Sunday. Then they go to Denver, Indy, and they end the year against the Tennessee Titans. We thought the Colts schedule, this is a little bit more of a cake than the Colts schedule, but that at Denver game, ooh-wee.
That's going to be a good matchup for them.
It's a very intriguing matchup for
yeah,
them.
I mean, look, I'll be impressed. I mean, look, we've seen Denver struggle at times, even against like some of the poor teams in the NFL. So who says the Jaguars can't go up against them and try to steal a win?
Yeah, speaking of the Broncos, they beat the Raiders by a score of 24-17 on Sunday. I don't know, Mark, if you caught the ending of this one, but did you see what Pete Carroll did with about 3 seconds left to go in the game?
I did not. I've been hearing about it, but I did not see it.
Okay. So the Broncos are up 10. 3 seconds left. I think it's about 3 seconds left. I'm just going to check the score. Anyways, last play of the game. And Pete Carroll decides to kick the field goal to make it a touchdown game. So the people who had the Broncos at -7.5 lose because Pete Carroll decides to kick the field goal. And it has gotten a lot of attention. I know out of this group, you are the big gambler guy.
Yes.
No sponsor.
I did not bet on, I did not have any bets on that game. Just because I just really couldn't come up with something I liked. But trust me, if I was, I'd be calling Bloody Mary right now. I'd be screaming Bloody Mary.
You and Dave
you'll have
Portnoy.
a whole mob
Oh,
coming at Pete Carroll's house. You know, like how dare you?
a lot of money was lost because of that move.
Yeah, so the Broncos do win the game 24-17, despite Pete Carroll's best efforts.
And don't let the score fool you. The Broncos
This was not that close of a game.
the Broncos were winning that game. Like, you know,
Well, and we'll get into the Denver stuff in a minute because I think Denver's actually a really interesting team going forward. The Raiders right now sit at a record of 2-11. And if you look at mock drafts galore, not a website, I'm just saying mock drafts in general, they own the number 2 pick. Is it possible right now that we are looking at a one and done year with Pete Carroll and the Raiders look elsewhere? They've already fired coordinators. The special teams coordinator's gone, the offensive coordinator's gone. What's next for the Raiders to do?
If the Raiders decide, it's a one and done with Pete Carroll, which trust me, I think all of us would be kind of surprised. I see Pete Carroll going only one place, and that's New York Giants. And that could be the change the Giants need. And head coaching, we know, has been a problem with Giants for a long time.
Dan, any thoughts on Pete Carroll?
I think he's gonna stay. I think you owe it. I think Pete Carroll is such a great coach. It was a rough year. It was a very rough year for the Raiders. They didn't have the quarterback play, a bunch of injuries, and whether people want to admit it or not, that it was a major factor into how they played. And just the rise of some of these teams that you didn't expect to be good, well, they're good. So, it's a combination of a lot of things. Now, Pete Carroll has not had a great year coaching. I want to admit to that as well. We thought it would be a much different situation. And I think he needs to do some soul searching in the offseason if, in fact, he does stay in Vegas. How is he going to retool this squad? Maybe even do a rebuild since they have a high draft pick, or they're going to have a high draft pick. Like, and really think about what the needs are for this team. But I think he'll ultimately stay. I think Davis trusts Pete Carroll to make the right decisions, helping out this football operation.
And for Denver, they keep their 2-game lead up in the AFC West. And listen, the AFC playoffs may have to go through Mile High.
Can you imagine? Like, I would not.
That's not going to be a good thing for the
I would
AFC.
not.
And it's like playing in Lambeau with less oxygen. That's what it's like. And one kick can change the entire game.
Can we just think about this for a second? We spent the bulk of the early to mid 2000s, New England, Denver, and you had to go through one of those two. Throw in Pittsburgh or Baltimore here and there. And we're back. You have to go through Denver and New England again.
Deja friggin' vu.
The Broncos' remaining schedule looks like this. They host the Packers on Sunday. Then they host the Jaguars. And then they end the year with the Chiefs on Christmas night and the Chargers in week 18. So I'll see what happens there with the 11-2 Denver Broncos. Speaking of the Chiefs, it may be all over, folks. It might
Maybe.
Have you seen the bottom of the AFC?
Yeah, I know, but
Dude, the Dolphins
that
are still in the hunt in the hunt
Yeah.
graphic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hear the end of this, ladies and gentlemen, until the season's over.
Dude, I'm still gonna tell you by week 16, they're still in the hunt graphic.
The funny thing is, Dallas is going to make the playoffs because the Eagles are going to just collapse, and you're not.
Yeah, the Eagles collapse allow the stupid idiot Cowboys to get in. And I gotta sit here and hope one of the Chargers, Bills, Colts, Steelers, Texans, all of these teams collapse. Or, you just lock them in their facility so they can't travel and they have to forfeit games. The Chiefs lost 20-10 to the Houston Texans on Sunday night. The Texans go to 8-5, while the Chiefs go to 6-7. CJ Stroud, another 200-yard performance with a touchdown. And a 3-interception night for Patrick Mahomes. I'll say this: the one to Travis Kelce needs to be caught by Travis Kelce, and it's not
Yes.
the first time that's happened this year.
No, Philadelphia game.
But this game comes down to one play for me, guys. 4th and 1 inside of your own 40-yard line. And I love Andy Reid. I love the fact that he's got a phenomenal mustache. I love the fact that he's a normal human being and talks about eating burgers. In a tie game, you can't go for it there. And that ultimately cost the Chiefs this game because they had all the momentum. They came back from 10-0. They got it to 10-10. And that play sets up the go-ahead touchdown for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, it was not the game to do all these cutie stuff that, the Chiefs would always do when they're dominant. This is a nightmare for Kansas City. And obviously fans are not enjoying this. Neither is Mahomes, neither is Kelce. Obviously, Andy Reid is everyone's just not ready this season in Kansas City. They're not ready to win mentally. On paper, they're a good team. Mentally, they're just not there. Something's off. And it's been off for a while, pretty much since the Super Bowl. Let's be real about that. Since that blowout in the Super Bowl, the team has been way off. You have off the field problems with players, you have injuries. Travis Kelce not being all there. He's focused on his fiance, who has her own documentary launching the next couple weeks or so. So, of course, like something's off with this team. And it's an organization problem that's spilling onto the field. And it hasn't been addressed properly. They think they can just get away with their nonsense. They can't. They're realizing they can't. Record shows it.
Mark, before you go, this kind of reminds me of do you guys remember the documentary The Last Dance about the 90s Bulls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it kind of feels like. Because
Well, that's what.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that's what this is. This is an end of a dynasty.
I'm afraid to say that because they could come back next year and be utterly really good.
And utterly, really older.
It's the truth, though.
No. Okay. Argument's sake, let's say Kelce retires. Where else are you? You got an issue. Mahomes is still Mahomes. not like he's.
Yeah.
It's not like he's Philip Rivers.
No, look, Mahomes has had a great career. The guy has nothing to prove to anybody. He's a five and in Hall of Fame quarterback. Here's what
You
I've
should put him
always
in
said.
tomorrow.
If he were to retire today, yes, he should go in tomorrow. I absolutely agree with that. Go if this is an end and you don't see your contract has got at least 2 or 3 years left. And if you don't see any chance of returning to that elite status, go out on top so you don't catch Brady. You need 7 more rings to do it. Come on. Players don't last as long anymore. I don't know how Brady lasted as long as he did, to be honest.
Because you couldn't touch Tom Brady. You blow Tom. You go like the big bad wolf and you try to blow him down. There's a flag. You poke him, finger poke a doom Tom Brady. Patch, if you're listening, you'll understand that. I mean, you couldn't touch Tom Brady. He was MC Hammer. You couldn't touch him. All right. So the Chiefs' remaining schedule looks like this: massive game Sunday with the Chargers. Then it's at the Titans, the Broncos, and at the Raiders.
Too hard, too easy. They have to win at least 3 of them.
And the Raiders would love nothing more than to knock the Chiefs out of the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. As for the Texans, the stories this defense just keeps rolling.
Defense is very good.
Yeah, they're going to be a tough out. If they get in, that's the team nobody wants to see.
Can we give kudos once again to D'Amico Ryans for having this team ready to go?
Yeah.
Like,
What they were able to do when CJ Stroud was out. When Stroud misses those 3 games, you look at it and you go, hopefully we can win 1 or 2, stay afloat. They won all 3 of those games. And that includes a win over the Bills and the Jaguars.
a team they're 8-2 over their last 10 games. Like, can you believe that? Including this current winning streak. What is it, 5 games now?
Yeah, it's 5 in a row.
They're on to something in Houston.
And by the way, 3 of their last 4 are at home.
Yeah. So they're taking care of business there too.
Yeah, they get the Cardinals this week. They get the Raiders next week. They got to go to Los Angeles and play the Chargers, and they host the Colts.
Yeah.
They can easily go 4-0, 3-1 in that stretch. They might be the most dangerous team in the AFC.
And that's the funny part. Like, they may be and we're expecting them to obviously at least get a wild card. Maybe even the South if
They might
get
even get the South. Listen, I don't trust the Jags. You trust the Jags?
I mean, they've been playing well too.
They've been playing great, but
yeah.
they haven't earned, me going all in on the Jags.
And that's the big key right there. Is a lot of analysts are saying they haven't impressed enough to go on. That is the perfect statement the way they say it, way Mike said it.
All right. The other big game, and I'm going to just label this as what I'm going to say, folks. If you don't like it, I could care less. The screw job in Baltimore.
They lost. Or they lost. I'm sorry.
Listen, win, lose, draw. That Isaiah Likely catch is a catch, and this league doesn't know a damn thing about what a catch is.
The thing that's so weird though about that game is literally that, like, the inconsistencies with this rule.
Yeah.
It's still insane how they have not cleared up what a catch is. You know what? Back in the days, I used to watch because I'm so depressed that my team can't even sniff a playoff. I watch Jet highlights from the 60s. You know what Don Maynard used to do? He used to catch the ball and then he would drop it. And it was called a catch. So it's like, you know, now everything is so specific. It's based on judgment.
Yeah. And that's my problem. Everybody's got a different interpretation of the freaking rule. What, from my understanding, it's you have to have the ball in your hands with 2 feet down.
Yes.
Well,
And
Isaiah Likely had the ball in his hands with 2 feet down, a defender on his back,
yeah.
who then knocked it out. So my question is this: how come it's so hard to rule that? But meanwhile, a running back or a quarterback, hey, I just got to show the ball over the pylon, touchdown.
Yeah.
Isaiah Likely crossed the goal line with the ball 2 feet down. That's a catch. That's a touchdown.
Yeah, but there's all these other things. Oh, well, he did knock the ball out. So, like, but again, like, it's inconsistent because sometimes that's a touchdown, sometimes it's not a touchdown. Like, do you understand how crazy it is, Mark?
Yes. Watching this game and then seeing the play, right up live and then shown to me now over like 30 times. Give me a break. It's a catch.
Piece of that kick.
It's a touchdown. I don't have a kick out bar at the moment. That's why I said give me a break. It's a catch. It's a touchdown on any day of the week. Come on.
And by the way, that's not even the only call that they get wrong, because then there's a personal foul on a field goal on the Ravens. The Steelers score a touchdown, 4-point swing. The NFL called the Ravens on Monday, telling them it's the wrong call.
Wrong goal, yeah.
Like, what
was
are
a
we
disaster.
doing?
It was a disaster. The
Listen,
Ravens still lost. I want to let them know, like, they still lost that game.
oh, they did lose the
And
game.
deserve to lose. But
Listen,
it's tough when you have the refs like having to do apology notices. You know,
now I want these referees. Listen, I hate saying it, but we talk about it often with the gambling. I want these the refs looked into. Listen, the catch rule is the catch rule. It's so stupid and it is frustrating and it is absurd the fact in the year of 2025 the NFL doesn't know what a catch is. So for fuck's sake, NFL, clean it up. Get on a committee, grab whoever you want, and let's make the rules of what a freaking catch is, because we shouldn't be having this freaking debate right now.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Aaron Rodgers, nice of you to show up this week after you no-showed against the Bills last week.
mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin, way to have your team ready to play when they weren't prepared to play at home.
This is another thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they play when they want to play and take off when they want to take off. Like, it's doesn't smell like a very good, consistent team right now.
They are not a consistent team. The Steelers' remaining schedule looks like this. Monday night, they play some team from Miami that's probably going to beat them. So they're really good. Then they go to Detroit. They go to Detroit, Cleveland, and then they host the Ravens to close out. As for the Ravens, they go to the Bengals this week and then host the Patriots, go to Green Bay and Pittsburgh to close out. That is very difficult for the Baltimore Ravens.
The Steelers have an easier ride, but we always say that and they screw us.
Well,
every
you know what's funny? Like, Pittsburgh could win like 3 of those 4 games, the one loss is going to be the Cleveland game.
Mhm.
That's going to be the one loss. Cleveland.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see what else. Oh, we had the Bears and the Packers. The Packers beat the Bears 28-21. And Mark, another guy we wanted to play well, had to play well on Sunday, and I'll give him his credit. Jordan Love backed up his play
Yeah,
for Thanksgiving with another solid performance.
we went in depth last weekend on Jordan Love. Hats off to him. He played a great game of football. Also, hats off to that Green Bay defense. Edged out in the end, but Mike has it right. Jordan Love showed up in the big time game that he needed to win to keep Green Bay at the top of this NFC North. But still got 4 weeks to go. It's not over yet.
Yeah. And listen, give Caleb Williams his credit too. Caleb played fairly well, except for
Yes,
that last pass, which was needed a little bit more
Haka.
zip on that one. But this is gonna be a fun 3-team race between the Bears, Packers, and Lions. The Lions are sitting right there too. 2 touchdowns for Christian Watson. Josh Jacobs added a rushing touchdown for the Packers. It's a fun game. Fun overall game. The Packers' remaining schedule looks like this: at Denver, at the Bears, then the Ravens, and they end the year in Minnesota. And for the Bears, they play the Browns this week, followed by the Packers, at the Niners, and they end the season against the Detroit Lions. That is a tough final 3 games for the Chicago Bears. All right. And then we probably had the game of the day, which took place in a winter wonderland. That was the Bills beating the Bengals, probably ending the Bengals' hopes of anything. 39-34. And Mark, this was a fun quarterback game between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow.
Yet again, I was saying, don't play Burrow. He's going to get injured. Well, I'm glad nobody got injured between Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. What a fun game to watch. I mean, give credit where credit due. Both of these quarterbacks put up excellent games. I don't think Cincinnati has a shot in hell to make it into the playoffs. But at least they're showing reasons why maybe they can grab a free agent or two.
Dan?
It was a good game, great comeback by the Bills. If I'm the Bengals, like just punt, like it's done, like it's over. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I get it. You want to see what you can get out of Burrow, but the season is lost and has been for a while, and this loss here just proves that. The Bills did a tremendous job after falling early, and they did not start off well. But Buffalo hung in there. Josh Allen took over when he absolutely needed to. And look, Josh Allen is a tremendous player. I mean, where would the Bills be without him? Like I say this all the time. Where would the Bills be without Josh Allen? Probably 5 wins, maybe 6 if they get lucky with one. That's the reality. So Bills fans should count their blessings that he's your quarterback.
How many times does he have to play God for this team?
Mhm.
That's a problem for me. Like, I get it. This Bengal offense is explosive, especially with Joe Burrow at the helm. But man, it felt like the Bills They couldn't stop anything. The Bengal offensive line was mauling them at the top. And then finally they get the break on the Benford pick six. And then everything went to hell for the Bengals.
And shout out to the Bills defense for making plays. You know, we've given them a lot of crap over the season, but Bills defense actually has been fairly consistent for the most part.
They needed to be better if they're
Yeah,
gonna make the run they want to make.
right.
And, and look, this is gonna come. It's not gonna be on the arm of Josh Allen come playoff time. It's gonna be on the legs of James Cook because that's what this offense is. It's James Cook. Josh Allen will play God when he has to, and then this defense will have to make a play or two. For the Bills, their remaining schedule looks like this. Sunday, AFC East is on the line as they're in New England. Then they go to Cleveland. They host the Eagles. And then they end the year against Dan's Jets. For the Bengals, they'll play the Ravens this week, followed by games with the Dolphins, Cardinals, and they end the year against the Browns.
That Browns game is going to be an interesting game.
It'll be the last game Zach Taylor is the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. I am making that decree right now. I don't think there's if Zach Taylor is the Bengals coach next year, it's going to be Marvin Lewis 2.0. Speaking of the Browns, they lost on Sunday to the Tennessee Titans.
Game was over from the kickoff started.
It was
Tennessee
31-20.
came out on top fast.
So Mark, who are you more impressed with? The fact that your guy Tony Pollard had 160 yards on 25 carries and 2 touches, or the fact that Shedeur Sanders threw for 360 yards?
See, we all knew Sanders could throw the ball. I'm glad he's already got the Cleveland Browns behind him to finish the season. Going into next season, we'll see what we'll see. I was so happy that Tony Pollard had a great day. I know he signed the 3-year deal with Tennessee, and things were supposed to be much more optimistic. This was his best game of the season, and it was against a good defense. So I'm happy Tony had a great day. But I also give credit to Cam Ward for leading this team to a win.
Dan?
First of all, Shedeur Sanders is the Browns quarterback moving forward. No changes next year. I know he's the rest of this season, but until we see otherwise, because this man has been ready for the moment the entire year. I get not starting him right away, but he's been ready. And the Browns have looked way better offensively since he started becoming the quarterback. And the passing game is brilliant, running game is great, everything about it is great. The fact that they messed around with Dylan Gabriel uh for those 7 games or so, whatever it was absolutely comical.
The problem with saying saying Sanders is a starter next year is you're paying Deshaun Watson a lot of money to sit on the bench then. So unless they find a way to amicably split, I have a hard time. I do want to make a little baseball note. They announced who will be going to the Hall of Fame with the Ford Frick Award, which goes to broadcasting. Joe Buck will be going to the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, good for him. Already a Hall of Fame
father-son duo, him and his father.
Yeah, he's already a Hall of Fame broadcaster in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and now he gets to be an honoree into baseball's Hall of Fame. So he's going to go to Cooperstown I mean, look, not my favorite broadcaster of all time, but still one of the best. You know, then he deserves every bit of it. So congrats to Joe Buck.
Yeah. So congrats to Joe Buck. So Cleveland 3-10, Titans 2-11.
Yeah, the Titans losing that top spot in the draft, I don't think they give a shit. Like,
Well, they already have the quarterback. They got
like
Cam Ward. They're
quarterback's
not
there.
drifting.
And the quarterback's good. I really like this kid. I just wish he had a better team and better coaching.
Well, the coaching is definitely gonna be needed, and talent's gonna have to
This
get up.
just in from Joe. Sorry, this just in from John Heyman. The Mets have contacted Kyle Tucker with interest to play in New York.
No thanks. No thanks, Kyle Tucker.
Batter up coming up soon, by the way.
We also got, oh man, the Vikings beating the Commanders 31-0. Best game of JJ McCarthy's career.
Yeah. Yeah. And you thought the Jets game was bad. I mean, a goose egg by Washington.
Do you want to get into the Jet game? Let's get into the
Well, not yet. Not yet. I'm just saying, like Washington put up no points.
All right.
This was a lackluster. And look, I know JJ McCarthy had a great game, but I'm sorry. Washington looks like shit. Sit Daniels, rest until next year.
Yeah.
And let Mariota finish out the year.
Like it's over. And this was a crummy Vikings team. Like this Vikings team is not good.
Yeah.
And I think talent-wise, the Commanders are better. It's well, I mean, maybe not wide receiver, but like, still like in terms of overall, Commanders are better on paper. So I was very shocked by that performance, and good for McCarthy, for at least 1 week proving the haters wrong.
Has this team quit on Dan Quinn? Like, was that
no? It's a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, Jaden Daniels being hurt sucked, and of course, Debo being in and out, Terry McLaurin being in and out. They haven't had their full team.
By the way, Debo's got to catch that ball in the end zone on that drive.
Exactly.
Yes.
The reality is they haven't been all there. And it really started at training camp when you had Scary Terry skipping out on practices because he was in a contract dispute. A contract dispute that did not have to happen. So again, another organizational issue. You had Adam Peters. He didn't do his job by making sure everybody was signed and ready to go at training camp. Dan Quinn obviously went through a tough one. No quitting there. There's no reason to fire the coach or anything. But next season, everyone's got to be ready. Like, when you're coming off a championship game appearance the season prior, not saying you have to go back to the championship game, but you still have to be somewhat, competitive. And half the time they just haven't been. So it's been rough. And of course, like I said, injuries didn't help.
The offensive line play has not helped.
No. Yeah, and maybe they just need to do a retool. Maybe they need to get another big time offensive big man to protect Jaden.
And doesn't hurt. Look, Sam Cosmi got hurt in the Detroit game, in the Detroit playoff game. That's been a huge loss for them. So Minnesota gets the win there. The Seahawks beat the Falcons 37-9. Atlanta's another one. Like there's so much talent on that team.
Yeah.
And they're not very good.
I think that this is definitely on the coach.
That is on the coach. Yeah. Mark's gonna blame Kirk Cousins because he's a hater and a critic.
Yeah. I told you. Kirk Cousins throws another interception. Kirk Cousins. I told you.
He also didn't have Drake London again, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins is too old.
Wait, Phil Rivers.
If Kirk Cousins would have stayed in Minnesota, I'm sorry. If Kirk Cousins stays in Minnesota and doesn't get his head full of what he's worth, he would have had a much better year.
Yeah, well, KOC did a tremendous job with him. He really elevated his game.
He also elevated the guy who's playing for the Seahawks now.
I know, right? Ah, I mean, maybe Kirk thought because of his experience, because of the fact that he's been to the playoffs, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs. The fact that he's been there, maybe it didn't really matter what the coach was. I think I think he overall he just thought that it was, he had everything ready to go in the bag. But then, of course, you have this young quarterback. Of course, he's not doing anything. He's injured. Tough.
It's a tricky situation.
Hard. I do have to leave here. I will say
All
that
right.
the Jets game, it was no contest, Mike. Three touchdowns in the first quarter. Like, come on now. Like
Yeah, it was 21-0 before you blew.
and this was with Tyrod as quarterback. So it's like the Jets bringing in Brady Cook didn't really matter much. Like,
Are you cool with Brady Cook starting the rest of the year?
yes, because it doesn't matter.
All
Like,
right.
why are we wasting our time with Justin Fields knowing that he ain't going to be back anyway?
All right. And the only other game that we got left is Rams Cardinals, and the Rams blew out the Cardinals. So we'll see y'all next week here on the NFL Recap Show.
Actually, we'll see you Sunday on Sunday Sideline Report. Tomorrow night, you can catch Bill and Dan and possibly another guest on Thursday Night Gridiron.
Hold on. This just in from Adam Schefter. Jaden Daniels, who suffered another elbow injury, out
They had
Sunday.
mentioned he left. But he's done for the season.
Yeah, they'll bench him. So we'll see y'all Sunday. Don't forget Thursday Night Gridiron tomorrow night. And then next week, we'll be back for the recap with the recap. And then check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe here on YouTube. Go to the website, thesportsinsignal.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Dan's gone, but for Mark, I'm Mike, and we'll see you all Sunday.
That's on the flip side.
Okay, I think it has to be you.
Of course it does.
Just go to more and hit end live stream.